What up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Nonstop Tabletop. As always, you make sure to do your jazz hands and your finger guns straight out of the gate. Thank you so much for stopping by. Right before we get into it, make sure to hit that like, comment, subscribe. As you can see, today we are going to be talking about Pyro, the hottest new addition to MCP.
That was genuinely the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you. I came up with it for the past 10 seconds, and I felt really proud of it.
That took 10 whole seconds.
Yeah, and as always, right before that, make sure you check out. One sec, gotta pull it up, guys. Cradle East Providence. Just want to make a quick shout out, not advertised at all. Guys, Cradle East Providence. That's where we play our MCP games on Saturday and Star Wars Legion on Wednesdays. Just want to make sure to get that plug out of the way. And without further ado, I like Pyro. I also
like Pyro.
I was pretty impressed when I first saw, when I was first reading him, his attacks. I was like, attacks are fine. Like they're like it's your standard, 3 threat attacks. They're all energy, which is kind of a bummer. Wish he had some different variation, but I totally get it. He's manipulating fire. He's not going to be punching people, right? But
I would think he's not, but yeah.
But to go off that too, he's a 3-4-3 on his defenses, so the 4 is surprising. That's surprising, actually. I didn't expect that.
So that's similar to Human Torch. That's I believe Human Torch is 3-4-2.
Yeah, but he's
a little better defense-wise there.
So
they've been doing this a lot lately because Baron Strucker is 4-3-3. So I think they're just starting to sort of power up 3 costs a little bit by making them a little more specialized defensively, as opposed to Winter Soldier, who has a 2 mental or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I assume they do it for thematic reasons. So for original Human Torch, he's a robot. I don't know. You would think because he's an android, he'd have higher mental defense, but what do I know?
Yeah.
Because, Sentinels have
Vision's
that.
mental is kind of low too, unless you I think maybe not. I don't remember Visions now. I might be thinking of something else.
Ultron is 3.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so a 3's an average. 3's an average.
He's got 5. He's got 5 health, so you're still gonna be able to kill him kind of easily. But
yeah, he's not. Just because of the 3-4-3, it's not like he's gonna. He's on dominate the battlefield because of that alone.
He's on a tiny boy base. He's medium speed. He can get around. Obviously, he's it's gonna about equal out to the same as to him and badass. Blob. Sorry,
Blob.
I actually didn't mean to do that as a meme. I forgot his name for a second. I looked in the mirror and it just stuck. So their movement total is gonna be about the same, because he's small on a medium-sized base, and it's going to be the other way around with him. So,
yeah.
But what I did like on Pyro was his superpowers. That's where he comes in pretty well.
Should we go over the attacks first, or?
Oh yeah, I briefly said them. So if somebody else wants to go on that, then by all means, I've been talking the whole time.
It's got some good attacks. Range 4 builder that can incinerate and always gives 1 power is pretty strong. Flame Jet being a beam, we know how powerful that is on Human Torch. So after each attack is resolved, he gains 1. So it's probably not going to hit for a ton because it's only 4 dice per character that it hits, but you're gaining back hopefully more than 1 power. Otherwise, there's no real reason to use it.
True.
If you're not hitting 2 people.
Yeah.
And Inferno guaranteed incinerate, and that sort of splash damage is always kind of cool. There's a lot of situations where being able to guarantee a single damage on someone can KO them, as opposed to missing your builder twice and just not being able to kill them. So I like all his attacks. All of them give incinerate. All of them guarantee a power, which is nice for builders. Well, the builders do. The spender doesn't, obviously. Range 2 spender is a little weird for a character like him, but that's fine.
Yeah, similar. He's very similar to original Human Torch. It's kind of weird how closely they're coming out and how similar they are. Because basically the flame jet attack's basically the same builder as human torch. Inferno, human torch is 4 with costing 1 power, and then you can add dice for up to 7 power, like add 7 more dice. But that's also a range 2. Human torch is a beam range 2. Inferno is just a
just a regular range 2. Kind of feels like it should be an AOE or something, but he is a 3 cost. So.
Oh, the Inferno? Oh yeah, the Inferno would be insane.
He's already got a lot going on for him. I don't think after looking at his card, any of his attacks need to be changed. Like I think they're good.
Yeah, I think they're all where they should be.
He's already got a lot going on for him.
Yeah.
The spender kind of is an AOE of sorts, because then the person anybody within 2 of him, enemy characters, which is the nice thing, also take 1 damage, which can change.
Yeah, so you got you got an explosion, a guaranteed explosion.
Splash damage is good.
That to me is the solid solid balance factor to it. So like they couldn't do area, but they definitely supplemented that in a way that you could definitely piece it together, because it's not area of him, it's area of the targeted character. So that changes things. It really does.
Yep.
But I mean, Firewall, it's weird. I like it it makes sense that it's root and slow. Obviously, they're not just gonna be like, you get incinerate, you get incinerate. Everybody around the market gets incinerate. But I'm glad he has a way to distribute more than just incinerate, which is really cool.
Yeah, root and slow are also just busted in a format where Malekith exists.
And it's nice. It's nice to see more roots, because roots don't show up super often. Obviously, it started with Groot, because even the root token was like a little Groot thing. But yeah, like I think root has like a really good ability, has like a place in the game where you force them to spend an extra power to do superpowers. But you just don't see it on too many characters, so it's nice to see that showing up again. Or at all, really.
Especially with the range 3 too, like.
Yeah.
You're gonna be in range 3 of someone pretty much any time after round 1, for the most part, on your turn. So, if you position him right, he's another counter to Malekith, which is good. But he also any character that shuts down Malekith shuts down anyone who's worse than Malekith harder. So,
true.
root and slow are really problematic for characters who maybe have small bases and need to move medium, or who really need their power economy to be good, like Captain Marvel and Iron Man, who really need their powers to be cheap, otherwise they just don't have returns.
Yeah.
Just kind of funny, because Pyro himself kind of needs good power economy for his second superpower, Stoke the Flames.
Yeah, and just adding 2 dice for... I mean, adding 2 dice is great. 3's kind of expensive, though. I don't know how often you'll be spending it twice, but there's opportunities.
You got 9
you might be
power,
able to get
and
6 die. You might be able to spend 6 power for a flame jet, so then you actually be rolling like 8 dice.
Yeah, which, dude,
so that would be pretty solid.
If you could do that, that's my thing. That's where it stuck out to me. If you could possibly do Stoke the Flames even once or twice, and then if you could land a sick flame jet, you're in heaven right there.
Yeah, especially because if you're hitting enough characters, you're refunding at least one of them. Like if you're gonna hit 3 characters and you have 3 power, there's literally no reason to not play Stoke the Flames, because you'll just refund it with Flame Jet.
Yeah, 0-sum.
So I think that's cool, and that's probably why it's only 2. But
yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, only 4. Sorry, Flame Jet is only 4 dice.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of beams, they seem to scale them to the power of a beam. A lot of them are 4. There's a few that are 5.
Yeah,
like
I Crimson Dynamos is the only 5 that are off the top of my head.
Enchantress has 5 as well.
Hulk
but she's also
has 1. Because the Thunderclap.
Yeah, it's a beam, but I think it's his weakest attack. I think it's 6 or 5 or something.
Okay.
It's not a lot.
And it scales too off of his superpower, so it's kind of different.
So does everything, and they didn't balance.
So it's kind of how it is, right?
Yeah. I like Stoke the Flames a lot, though.
Yeah. And then the last one, fire manipulation. That's crazy because so you can if you have an incinerate if you attack an incinerated character, you can incinerate another character within two of them. And as the attacker, um, you get to choose the order of after attack effects. So you do an Inferno. After the attack is resolved with Inferno, target character gains Incinerate. Then you can activate Fire Manipulation, and assuming you Infernoed somebody that was within two of another character, you can just give them Incinerate too. So
Yeah.
Inferno can just guarantee two Incinerates on two characters.
It's
And
also cool because you can kind of chain across the board with it.
yeah, and this works for Flame Jet too. So if you incinerated somebody on the first attack, then you can just keep it going down the beam.
Yeah, and
Thanks, no.
potentially hit somebody that's out of the beam, but still
And hit
then
somebody out of the beam
yeah,
too.
it still goes down the beam line, so you can potentially still give the other targeted person incinerate, and then the other targeted person can chain to another person not in the beam. Obviously, that's never gonna happen, but that is a possibility, and that's really funny.
He is throwing out incinerates.
Yeah.
It's
Plus, he's got
funny
the
because
go for it. Well,
Okay,
he's got the range 4 builder where you wild to incinerate, and then after that's resolved, you can chain it to someone else, and then for your second action, you can shoot that person, and then chain it further down the field if there's someone within two of them. You
Yeah.
can just sort of incinerate your way down the field as long as you have a couple characters within range 4.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
that's the awesome thing about Fire Blast too, because man, if you could hit somebody just out, like just inside of 4, and if that person in 4 is trying to protect somebody close to them, well, too bad, sucker. They're gonna get incinerated too. They're numbnuts.
Yep.
I feel like this is weirdly what Brotherhood was missing. Somebody that could just kind of like beep 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 and just like keep like pinging homies for a little damage, a little incinerate here and there, and then either Magneto or Juggernaut just come in and just booty slap everybody else, and it sounds awesome. Like Brotherhood sounds such like a fun team now to me. You could like do crazy shit, like use Asteroid M to teleport Pyro, then to, like put yourself in this perfect beam scenario and just pop off like the queen that he is. I love it.
Yeah, and it's good
Plus-
that you mentioned that because so obviously when this guy came out, I was kind of thinking about Human Torch since they're so similar. And
He's great with Shield.
yeah, so the first thing is that so you can just use the initiative, add him to shield, and have Human Torch, and have a New Age. So then when you do play a New Age, you're just gonna do a lot of damage to everybody.
Yeah.
This guy in Human Torch will just wreck, getting 2 extra dice for every attack that round, pretty much. The other thing though, so Human Torch is very mobile. Going into like a weakness for this guy, he's not as mobile as Human Torch. So getting those beams lined up is going to be not super easy to do. Where Human Torch has hit and run, so he can do an attack and then move in and then do a better beam if depending on what your first attack was. So that's one thing that we're gonna have whoever plays him is gonna have to keep in mind is that he's gonna need Asteroid M. He's gonna need stuff that gets him in position because he's gonna have a harder time doing it compared to like Human Torch and stuff like that. So that was one thing I noticed.
He does fit a role that Brotherhood was missing too, because I don't think Brotherhood had a yellow attacker like
There
in
wasn't
affiliation.
there wasn't a lot of yellow. Some of
I
them
don't
do
remember.
have
Did
yellow
Magneto?
attacks.
No, Magneto's all red attacks, I think.
I
I
guess
think
that makes
Toad
sense.
Toad
He
has the yellow.
throws stuff. Yeah,
I think
guess
Toad
that
has the
makes
yellow.
sense.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But
Toad like has acid or something, but
yeah,
Toad is not.
Yeah,
he's not
Toad's
gonna
not
be.
that
You're not gonna bring
spot.
him for that. He's
Yeah.
he's got a different role.
Yeah, he's got
So
other
yeah,
things to do.
is filling it. He is definitely giving them the yellow attacking that they needed. They didn't have anyone dedicated at least to doing yellows.
It's always nice to have a way to fill your affiliation requirements with stuff you actually need is always good.
Yeah, and he is gonna also desperately need Magneto because of his power. He's super power hungry.
Yeah.
So you're gonna. I don't know how well he'll work um on a team with Mystique, basically. Um, he'll be fine. He's fine on his own. This isn't like a major detraction or anything, or
Yeah.
just like this is just an observation. But since he's only gaining one with Fire Blast. Flame Jet's the beam, but like I mentioned, it's gonna be harder for him to get into a spot where you can just beam multiple people, like guaranteed. Like obviously you're gonna have to work around it, but if you're playing against somebody that is well aware of Pyro's capabilities, they might not really give you as many opportunities as you would like. Um, so yeah, he's just not gonna gain a ton of power as much as you would like. So trying to get like Inferno off and Stoke the Flames on the same round, having 6 power just for that is gonna be hard without taking damage. So then that's something that's gonna have to be considered when somebody plays with him. Because plus then too, you're also gonna want to do firewall, right? So you're gonna want to slow and root people. That's gonna cut into your power storage. So
Yeah.
that's one thing about him.
Well, also
Um,
you got to consider Magneto's leadership. Also,
that's what I'm saying. He probably needs to run with Magneto to
Yeah, you
be
can't run him
very
on
effective.
Mystique's leadership. It just won't.
No.
Granted, her leadership has fallen off real hard in general, but
It's yeah, but it's just kind of something. He needs something. He needs power gain assistance. Kind of because Human Torch is similar. Like again, comparing him back to Human Torch, but Human Torch has the thing where he I forgot the name of the actual ability, but he can gain a power for each incinerated character near him when he ends a movement.
yeah,
So
it's
he
pretty
has
good.
the hit and run. You can do the hit and run, gain 2 power from a beam, then move and say you incinerate them, then you gain 2 more power. So you can gain 2 power and move into position for a better beam with Human Torch. So Pyro's just kind of in that similar situation. Um,
Yeah, he feels like
that
he
being
was
said,
designed with Asteroid M in mind for
yeah,
sure, because he has no mobility, but he doesn't need it.
Yeah, I feel
You
like
can just kind of place him.
I feel like
with
both
Asteroid
him
M.
and Blob were, because like then with Blob you
Yeah.
could set up for the Thunder Wave or whatever it is, that big attack that he does too. So it's like both of them
Yep.
definitely had Asteroid M in mind, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I feel like they're starting to lean more into what the specialty of their leadership is. Like, come on, everybody's gonna want to run Magneto anyway. He's Magneto. He's really cool.
he's cool. He's probably the better leader of the two
Oh, he definitely
right
is.
now. So I mean, he does have he does have a threat cost associated with that better leadership. He is a 6 cost for a leader, so it is gonna.
Well, now I guess
I think we mentioned in the last video they're already kind of tight on how much threat they're spending each game. So
well,
like
that's the nice thing is that
yeah.
with these characters coming out, they're having more options for different
Well,
scenarios for this. So
Yeah.
he's your 6. Usually you're gonna try to run Toad to try to supplement that. So it's gonna be 8 off the board, and then if you just do Pyro or Mystique, that's 11 right there. That's a usual average spread for your basic 3 characters that you're gonna want to bring in anyway. Granted, 6 of them are in Magneto, and I know he's really good anyway, but you just got to consider that in mind. Now,
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it in the last video about Blob, where them getting more 3 costs is like a godsend for them because that was their problem.
That's what
They
they needed.
needed to
Super
run
good.
Juggernaut, they needed to run Magneto.
did we say that
you know,
too in our affiliations support thing or no? I think we mentioned it. Or maybe it was just like not on the
What,
channel. That Brotherhood desperately needed like something small that wasn't Toad.
No, I don't think we talked about it on here, but
No, that didn't come up in that one.
Definitely not in the
now that
video,
we've
But
got
something they
them,
needed. But they were good with what they had. I mean, if Juggernaut's on the table, nothing's stopping the Juggernaut. So he's
Juggernaut's a
Yeah.
threat. He's
gonna
a pain in the ass.
he causes a lot of issues. Magneto is really strong. So them having those two wasn't like they couldn't win games or they couldn't play games, but it was kind of like they just couldn't get options for games that required to be more spread out. So having a 3 cost 2 new 3 costs with this pack is definitely going to help the Brotherhood become stronger, especially now with we were like kind of okay with Blob, but then Pyro is like, yeah, he definitely
Yeah.
has a spot in the team that is going to be filled perfectly by him.
And I kind of hope they keep building characters sort of like this, where they work way better within their own affiliation, because we've been seeing like, people are playing affiliations, but their lists are like maybe 4 of those characters or 5 of those characters, and the other 5 are just like flexes. But like Lockjaw's mandatory on Brotherhood because he's does what he does, which is fine because someone running Lockjaw is good, in my opinion. But you know what I mean? Like, this character is clearly designed with the ability to place it with Asteroid M. So was Blob, which means that he functions way better under Magneto, especially with Magneto's leadership. So like, you're not trying to flex him in; you're trying to use him to fill out rosters. And I'd like to see way more characters that fill out rosters as opposed to flex into random teams like Black Cat and Malekith, who are like, you just like take 2 slots of your 10-man roster and you're like, these 2 are so good that you play them on everything, and they don't need specialized help to be busted. Whereas this guy's probably going to be okay. You can run him on Shield with Human Torch and like probably get some value out of him.
Yeah,
But when
it's
you
more
put
of
him
a
on
fun
Brotherhood,
build
he's
than like
way
a
better.
really, yeah.
Yeah. I'd
So
like to see them design characters a little bit more like that going forward.
it does help with the current state of things where, as it sounds from what we've heard of tournaments and how we've been playing and everything, with Malekith being very dominant, you really have to either plan around him or get beat by him, it feels like. The and so Black Cat became mandatory because she can just give the stagger, and that really messes him up. So yeah, getting more options that are in your affiliation feels a little better. Having more answers to different characters, like, it's fine if Malekith is good. He costs 7 and everything. Only problem is right now is that really a lot of teams need Black Cat. So like, if they can get characters that don't necessarily do the exact same thing as Black Cat, but can handle Malekith like Black Cat, or at least their team in total can do that, then it will be a better game environment. It'll feel better. People will be more in, and it doesn't have to be everyone in. You're playing every person is in that affiliation or anything to meet thematically and stuff. But it's just kind of like, it might feel better where you're like, I want to play this team, and I do have good options for this team.
Yeah, I don't have to bring Black Cat to deal with this because my affiliation, for example, Pyro is a really good example where he gets Firewall, so he can choke those threats that are a real problem for Brotherhood. And you don't necessarily have to bring Black Cat. You probably still should, but maybe I don't remember exactly what Magneto and Juggernaut can do off the top of my head, except that they don't die. So like, they can probably deal with them too, but
Juggernaut does not care about Black Cat, which is awesome. So weirdly, I think Juggernaut is starting to become a great creeper pick for people because
yeah, you toss him in the roster.
He just gets rid of Stagger. He just goes, nope, I don't want it anymore. Thanks, idiot. He just shrugs it off.
I'd rather not.
No, thank you. Kitty Pryde does this enough to me.
Right now, there's a meta of just like staggering. So
yeah, so weirdly, I think Brotherhood
stagger was always good, right? But
might be in a really good spot, like really good now.
Yeah, the only problem with Brotherhood is that, of course, you want to bring Magneto in and Juggernaut, which is 11 points off the rip, plus Lockjaw to proc off stuff. So you're at 14 points right there. So you're basically building off those 14 points. And Pyro and Blob let you build off those way more effectively than like you'd be sitting there like, I have to bring Mystique and Toad. Like,
and it's like, I don't want to.
Or like,
well, I like Toad.
Like, you can bring Pyro.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I like Toad, but then Toad puts you at Toad puts you for 16. But then when you hit 17, you're like, I'm not gonna run Toad.
Yeah. Now,
or maybe I will because he's arguably more valuable than Mystique. But now I'm playing a point down.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can just play Pyro or Blob instead.
Right.
So,
which I think is really good.
This kind of makes me want to reconsider what I play for Boston. It's not going to make me change my mind on Crime Boys, but goddamn, Brotherhood is starting to see that value, I think. And I don't think their team tactics cards are going to be anything crazy. I think because those two, I believe those two are best friends in the books, Blob and Pyro. I could be wrong. Or maybe it's Blob and Toad. Oh, well, maybe that'd be the case.
You'll probably get an affiliation card for St. John Allardyce and whatever Blob's name is.
Yeah,
or,
yes. Yep.
Or Toad or someone like. You'll get an affiliation for them. I think Blob will probably get a bodyguard card.
He should.
Seems like he should.
Give him all that.
Right,
like, whatever.
I mean,
Or,
like he's
good.
not like a great bodyguard, but he would be okay as a bodyguard, so it wouldn't be like a big deal.
I would like to see Blob get
Gets
a
him in
card that
position
just
for certain
says
things.
block all the damage for one attack. Like, it just like pay 3
That would
power.
be neat.
Just
Another Odin's Blessing
yeah,
almost.
yep. But it's only Blob. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna give it to Magneto or something.
Yeah.
Because then that'd be a little too good.
Yeah, because Magneto really needs the help.
Yeah. All right, so just so we don't drag this along any further, I think it's safe to say Pyro gets the thumbs up from us, man. Unless Nick feels like, no.
I'm gonna say down. No.
No.
See, I felt like Blob still has potential with team tactics cards. This guy, Pyro, he might still have really good team tactics cards. But he has a place in Brotherhood. I keep getting excited thinking about him in other teams, especially Shield, with just kind of fooling around with a New Age and everything.
I would love him on Cabal with Red Skull. Potentially give him more power to be able to reasonably play Firewall and stoke the flames a little bit more. Just
even better with the new Red Skull's leadership too.
Yeah,
where he literally just needs to be near a token to gain the extra power during his turn.
So
yeah,
thumbs up on all of our ends.
He's got a lot of uses.
Guys out there, let us know what you think out there. Yeah, you sitting in your chairs watching us. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about both Blob and Pyro, because I think they're both pretty good. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Truly does help us a lot. We're getting close, man. We're getting now closer to 100 than we were before, and I feel like that's
a big number.
That 100 is big.
Way to go.
Yeah,
100 is definitely closer than it used to be. That's for sure.
That's true. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, always make sure to roll your crits, and I promise, you will never lose. We love you very much. Peace.